Pues casi tras 2 horas de coche estamos en la península de Ballenas, en norte-norte ya. Ya el siguiente destino entramos en lo que sería en los fiordos del oeste, lo más norte que tiene la cabeza de la oveja, se dice. Dicen que el mapa de Islandia es una oveja, y eso ya será lo más norte que vamos a estar de Islandia, lo más norte que tiene. Y en esta península de Ballenas, aparte de poder visitar la playa de arena negra, que bueno, todas son de arena negra, vamos a visitar una piedra saliente en el mar que dice ser que era un troll que le pilló el sol y se convirtió en piedra mientras intentaba destruir el monasterio de Fingeyjar. Y otros dicen que es un troll o un monstruo gigante bebiendo del agua. Así que estamos en el camino que lleva hacia él. A ver si no es un camino muy largo, porque para llegar a los fiordos del oeste me quedan 2 horas y media. Son las 4:30 ahora mismo. Si me dan las 5 voy a llegar de noche. Aún no habiendo hecho el trekking por la mañana, voy a tener que comerme mucha carretera de noche. Y por lo que dicen, las carreteras de los fiordos del oeste son las peores, ya que está fuera de lo común, digamos, de la visita a Islandia y fuera de lo que sería la ruta circular de la Ring Road. A ver... Y ahí está el troll. Ahí lo tenemos. No sé si se puede bajar o no. Warning, high risk, alto riesgo de caerse. 6, acceso a la playa seguro por el pathway. Debe haber otro pathway para la playa, pero yo no voy a la playa, yo voy al troll. Bueno, está bastante bien. Coño, hay medusas. El agua fría. Y hay mogollón además. Wow. Hay mogollón. ¡Ay, que me mojo, coño! Pero mira, hay mogollón. Pues nada, hemos venido a ver las medusas y no el troll bebiendo del agua. Y esto es a lo que me refería hace unos días cuando comentaba lo de los troles. Este no es el único, hay 2 o 3 o quizá más. Que haya leído seguro 2 o 3. Y pensaba que los había incluido en mi ruta, pero imagino que me pillaban mal y no merecía mucho la pena. Pero este es muy mítico, muy mítico. Ahora, para llegar aquí, la carreterilla tela. ¿Vosotros creéis que es un troll, un monstruo bebiendo del agua? Yo lo veo como, no sé, un elefante con la cabeza metida en el agua, bebiendo, sí. Más que un troll, lo veo. Pues nada, me despido aquí. Voy a hacer unas cuantas fotos y ya 2 horas y media hasta Hólmavík, donde me hospedo, y mañana ya hago el tour de las ballenas, que por fin tengo muchas ganas, que haga buen tiempo, que no se cancele, por favor. Nos vemos ya en Hólmavík. Hasta ahora. Bueno, ya estoy en un hotel, Fina Hotel. Es una casa muy vieja. De hecho, llegando a unos 10 minutos llegando se veía un montón de luz y se veía como una ciudad grande. Pero de hecho Hólmavík tiene... ¿Cuántos habitantes tiene? Tiene 320 habitantes, según el censo. Y cuando he llegado ya he visto, había nada, pocas casas y todas las luces. Es el puerto. Es un pueblo portuario, pesquero, para visitar ballenas también, tours de ballenas. Por eso estamos aquí. Y porque era la puerta de entrada, digamos, a los fiordos del oeste. Y por algo más de 130 euros, bueno, es una habitación muy pequeña. Aquí tenemos la ducha, el baño, muy normalito, y la cama con tele. Esto es todo lo que hay. Y la verdad es que aquí no hay mucho. En Hólmavík no hay mucho a escoger. Hay mejores, pero si esto cuesta 130, los mejores te cuestan 250, 300 la noche. Y nada, esta es la primera noche que voy a dormir largo y tendido, porque el turno es hasta las 10. Por tanto, me levantaré cuando me despierte, daré un paseo por el puerto, desayunaré, si es que hay algo abierto. Hoy, mientras venía, miraba a ver si había un restaurante o algo, no hay nada. Así que, pero claro, de noche se ve poco. Hoy ha sido un tute de conducir muy grande, han sido unos 600 kilómetros en total, para arriba, para abajo. Y es el día, me parece que es el día que más kilómetros voy a hacer, salvo el último que tengo que tirar hasta Reykjavik, que ese me parece que también va a ser largo y tendido. El coche está aguantando bien y me espero carreteras chungas aquí. Ya mucha carretera de grava, por suerte pocos hoyos, o sea que aceptable, pero ya me han dicho que va peor. Así que cuanto más me adentre en el norte, en los fiordos del noroeste, lo que nos encontraremos puede ser chunguillo. Y nada, el día 12 se ha terminado y mañana, día 13, a ver ballenitas. Teoría había dicho muy bueno, pinta que va a seguir igual, así que en teoría el tour debería seguir adelante. Buenas noches y nos vemos mañana, un día más y mejor. Chao. Buenos días, día 13, son las 9:30. Tengo el barco de Lucky Tours para whale watching, para ver ballenas, en media hora. Hoy he podido dormir largo y tendido, aunque me he levantado a las 7:30, la verdad. Y nada, estaba dando una vuelta por el pueblo, he ido al supermercado también a desayunar y a comprar provisiones. Y bueno, estaba dando la vuelta al pueblo para ver qué había, si merecía la pena, pero es feo. Es que es un puerto, simplemente es un puerto con 4 casas mal distribuidas, aquí y allí. No merece mucho la pena grabar nada, salvo esta zona de escalinatas coloridas que dan a la... No sé si es una casa faro o... Ah, no, es una iglesia, coño. Es una iglesia. Pues nada, la escalinata en la iglesia. Y poco más. Me he hospedado literalmente al lado de la iglesia, en una casa. Y el pueblo tiene 2 partes. Una allí, luego una carreterilla que conecta a la otra parte del supermercado y las gasolineras, que es donde más casas hay. Y el puerto, la verdad es que las vistas, bueno, para nada comparadas con otros fiordos. Hólmavík era una parada para hacer noche y hacer el tour y nada más. Hoy proseguimos el tute en coche aunque hoy no es tan largo, son poco menos de 300 kilómetros, pero ayer ya estoy mirando el resto de días y tengo días más largos que el de ayer en coche, especialmente mañana. Sí, mañana especialmente. Pasado es bastante largo, pero mañana va a ser más largo. Tengo 8 horas de coche en total, parando obviamente en sitios, pero voy a tener que quitar cosas porque es imposible. Voy a llegar de noche a muchos sitios si no. Entonces haré un poco de purga y veremos cómo queda el día. Pero aún así, el kilometraje me lo como igual, porque tengo que empezar a bajar hacia Hvitserkur. Y hoy vamos a subir, por lo que bajar, empezaremos a bajar mañana, viernes, el sábado, y con la idea de llegar el sábado por la noche, 10-11 de la noche a Hvitserkur, para dormir 3 horas e irme al aeropuerto, que a las 5 tengo que estar allí. Y esto es el pueblo, si es que no hay más. La escalinata es chula, de colorides, arcoiris. Y la iglesia, que por supuesto está cerrada. Y aquí está el otro lado de casas y ya estaría. Voy a hacer tiempo. Queda un cuarto de hora para que empecemos la visita. Tenemos que estar 15 minutos antes. Y nada. Vamos a ver ballenas. Bueno, espero. El tiempo, el día genial, parece. El mar se ve tranquilite, aquí. Y nada, con muchas ganas. Llevaba muchos años queriendo ver ballenas. Y hoy voy a hacer el tick de bucket list. Nos vemos un ratillo. Hasta ahora. Ya vamos a subir el barco. Qué ganas, qué ganas, qué ganas, qué ganas. Hay mucha más gente de la que pensaba, a pesar de que esto es súper remoto. Y de nuevo hay bastantes españoles. Estamos en todos lados.
Sí, es very steep.
Hello.
Ten confianza con tu amigo. Nada va de aquí para allá, no. De allí para acá.
In Dutch, Clearval in Norwegian. I can't do any more, sorry. I try to add a new one each season. So yeah, this is really the main species that we see here. We've seen humpback whales every day now since late June. So hopefully we've got some of those out there. I'll mention the others because people always ask, and even when I mention them, people still ask. Blue whales. I mentioned this yesterday, and then somebody said, "Have you ever seen blue whales?" 3 times in 6 years. Not very common. Minke whales. These are the second most watched species in Iceland. That's what they're mostly watching in Reykjavik this time of year. They're fast and streamlined. Not really very easy to whale watch, it has to be said. Sometimes we see them. Dolphins. We are probably not the best field in Iceland for dolphins, but we sometimes see them. It's this species, white-beaked dolphins, orcas. I don't know if anyone saw Facebook. Orcas. I usually say, yeah, Laukitus is the orca whale watch, but it is not Hólmavík and it's not this time of year. It is springtime in Hólmavík, and we see the orcas nearly every day, nearly every tour in spring and early summer. We occasionally see them here. We did see some yesterday here, only the second time this year that we've seen them. So the point is, you never know. But yeah, we did have some yesterday. We will look for them, but I don't think we've ever seen them 2 days in a row from here. They move around a lot in this area. We've seen fin whales once, spur whales once, pilot whales a few times, and northern bottlenose whales. The point is, of course, this is nature. what we see, what they're doing, this is down to the whales, this is down to nature. It's obviously the way it should be. It is not an aquarium out there, and thank goodness it is not SeaWorld. Whales are not getting ready to perform and jump for us, and just say yes, whales can jump out of the water. No, I'm afraid they don't do it very often. You have to be very lucky to see it, and 99.9% of the time here, humpback whales are swimming and diving, swimming and diving, swimming and diving. That is what they are spending their time doing, because this is a feeding ground. They're here for food, and most of the time they're diving down deep to get it. So that's the behaviour that we see most of the time. And last thing to say, yeah, it is a feeding ground. If you've ever been whale watching in a breeding ground, sometimes you can get hundreds, thousands of whales together in a small area in a breeding ground. Generally, that doesn't happen in feeding grounds. Whales are much more dispersed in feeding grounds, but we get longer seasons. But we have been seeing quite a few humpbacks out there recently. Hopefully the weather lets us get to where they are today, and we're all good. But yeah, just to keep expectations in mind. That's it. Thank you very much.
Wow! They're so close.
Yeah, very.
to here would be more like about a meter, about double this. Some whales from here to here can be almost 4 meters, 3.8 meters, so much bigger than this. And you can see all the plates. They have up to 600 of these plates in their mouth, so a whole lot more than this, and they hang all around like this around their mouth. So I always think this is the best illustration of it. This is what it looks like. So yeah, if you look in the whale's mouth, you see this part, that's the outside bit, and the inside, the pleats out, and they become really distorted, really distended, and then they close their mouth and they use their tongue to push the water through here. They spit the water out, the food is stuck here, they scrape it off and they swallow it. This is the reason why they are the biggest animals in the world, but it's also the reason why often they will live by themselves, or they do live by themselves. They're not always together in these groups because they can eat a whole school of fish on their own. They don't have to work together to hunt food. The ones with teeth mostly have to work together to hunt food. But yeah, if you would like to have a look, it's made of the same stuff as our hair and fingernails. It's made of keratin, but in English we call it baleen, this stuff. And yeah, this is where they mostly go in the winter time. So this is the main breeding ground for North Atlantic humpbacks is the Caribbean. So by about early mid-November, the fjord starts getting pretty empty here and we don't see them anymore. And most of them by then are swimming south. They go here to mate, to give birth, but there's no food. So they go a long time without eating. So that's why when they're here, they are just eating all the time. And some of them go down here to Cape Verde. But if you want to see, who did we see today? Oh, we saw Example. I know him very well. This is Example. So he was one of the group of 3 that came very close to us near the beginning, and then he was out there in a group of 4. Another one had joined him. So this whale, he has a very distinctive fin on his back. I can usually tell who he is without seeing his tail because he has a really squared off fin. But this is Example. We first saw him on our very first day whale watching in this fjord in 2017, and we've seen him on and off since. And I know he's a male just because we had a researcher come here a few years ago and she took some skin samples. So just a few individuals that she got skin samples from, I know the sex. Most of them you don't know if they're male or female. The females are a little bit bigger than the males, but not by enough just to look at them and know that they are male or female.
How do you put the names? I can see.
Oh, you know, I just when I have a gin and tonic.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, not all of them have got names. I'm not imaginative enough. The rule that I learned when I first started whale watching is you have to give them a name based on a pattern on the tail. So most of them just have a number. But Example, I gave him the name because he has an I and an E here, which is like for example, sort of. But you can see the E is very like, yeah, I and an E. Just, it's quite distinctive. So that's how he got his name. But I'm not imaginative to name all of them. But yeah, they were very strict when I first started whale watching in New England. I know, I'm afraid to say Hvitserkur, they give them stupid names, and I hate Hvitserkur. They just name them after any old person or their girlfriend or boyfriend. When I first learned whale watching 25 years ago in Massachusetts, we were always told you give them a name based on the marking of the tail, because we're not trying to make them into pets. They are wild animals. Most of the time we don't know if they are male or female, so you don't give them a name of your favorite person or your favorite singer or celebrity. You give them a name based on the marking, and then because that helps trigger your memory. You see a pattern on the tail and you're like, oh, that looks like. So yeah, who else did we see today? We saw the really white one with the spot. I mean, I don't know, there's so many. I will have to go home and have a look. This one we saw, I think this was the one that was out there kind of on its own, has a mostly white tail with this little round blob here. So this one we first saw in 2019, and yeah, it's been back. But anyway, you can see all the examples. Anything from all black. There was an all black, at least one all black one today. That was probably, the all black ones are quite hard. The all black one was probably 39, because that one has been around a lot this year.
Yeah.
And usually they have enough little white marks that if you get a good enough picture, you can tell. But the all black ones are the tricky ones. Sometimes you have to use the patterns here at the top. But yeah, they first realized you could take photos of humpbacks and they look different. Also killer whales, they use the fin. Other whales, they use the skin patterns. But they first realized you could do this in 1976. They took photos of 2 female whales, already adults, fully grown, in Massachusetts. They realized they looked different and they called them Salt and Pepper. Pepper is probably dead. Nobody has seen Pepper for a few years, but Salt is still alive. She was seen the other day. So she was first photographed in 1976, already an adult. So she is at least 50, probably more like 60 something years old. We think they live 70 or 80 years, but we haven't actually studied them long enough yet to know for sure, because they live at least as long as we do. And Salt is still having babies. So she had a calf with her last year, which was her 16th calf that we know about since 1976. So she is a very famous whale, and whenever she is seen, she was seen the other day off Provincetown, Massachusetts, and then Facebook goes mad. Salt is back. She's probably been seen by more humans than any other wild humpback. She's a very famous granny whale. She's a great granny, at least that we know of. So they even have a bit of a family tree for her. Because if you get a photo, unfortunately here in Iceland we don't see mothers and babies very often. We've seen 1, maybe 2 in this fjord, and all around Iceland it's really rare. We don't know why, but in New England you do get a lot more mothers and babies. And then if you can get a photo of the baby's tail, and it's hard because the babies don't always lift their tails. They're very skinny, so often they just sink. But as they get fatter, eventually they start lifting their tails, and then if you get a photo of the tail, then you know that that whale was born that year, and then you can follow it throughout its life and know how old they are. None of mine, I know how old they are, because none of them I have photos of them when they were a baby, only when they've come in the fjord. So yeah. Anyway, any questions?